Hey, seventh graders, welcome to day 5 of the 2030 project unit. I'll start with our essential questions again. What are the biggest problems faced by people around the world today, and how can I help solve those problems? Last week, you got a start with this learning target. I can find relevant research, give credit to my sources, and summarize it in my own words. You started doing the research brainstorm. And so you thought of different ways to think about your problem and how you could maybe research this problem. And so hopefully you started that research. Hopefully, if you have any questions, you're either reaching out to myself or Mr. Deal, who has given us some resources and some database access, so that you can do a little bit further research than just going on to Google. So I hope that that's going okay. I hope you're finding some stuff, some interesting ideas, and maybe some interesting facts and figures and different things, statistics, maybe about the target that you're focusing your project on. We're going to continue that work today. So there's really not too much new stuff. I'm going to show you a few new things in just a little bit, but we want you just to continue focusing on the research. You're researching hopefully to learn a lot more about your problem and to really understand it really well. And when it comes to the final presentations, you will be expected to show some of that research in your final presentation. So this is just taken right from the rubric. We've got the exceeds category and the meets category. So just to meet it, you're going to need to present research from 3 or more reliable sources. So try to make sure that research is thorough, that maybe you're taking quotes, you're taking statistics, you're taking things that feel like you've really learned about this topic, and you can show that the problem that you're focused on is really actually a problem that's something that we need to strive for meeting the goal of. You also need to include effective quotes and paraphrases, descriptions, facts, details, examples to explain the problem the target addresses, kind of what I was just saying there. I'd also like you to cite all of your sources, so make sure that you are telling where you're finding stuff, so keep track of that as you find new things. That's the meets category. The exceeds goes a little bit beyond that, and you can go ahead and read that on your own. But we would like everyone to at least meet, if not exceed, our different requirements for this project when it comes down to the final presentations, which again, you'll get more detail on, but we're looking for everybody to have their final presentations done by the 21st. And we'll talk more about what presentations will look like a little bit later on. So the research stage is what we're focused on now. After that, we'll be looking at the advocacy plan, and I'll say a little bit more about that in a second. But complete that brainstorming for research worksheet. Again, at the bottom of that worksheet is where you can do the notes for your research. So just one document for everybody in your group, just one place to house all of your research. I think that's the easiest way to go about this in this distance learning setting. Take the notes, keep track of your sources, use the databases. I have included all the stuff from Mr. Deal again on today's Schoology that I did last week. And then look at the websites. I've included some websites that I'll show you in just a second that I think you might find some good stuff on, just really related to the goals, if not your specific target. And then I do have another video that's going to just kind of jumpstart us on next lesson. So it's called Invent, Innovate, and Campaign. And this is really getting to the advocacy plan part of the project. So I'd like you to just watch that video so that you have an understanding of what that's all about. And then we can get focused on that stage of the project next class. So all you need to do is watch the video. Focus mainly on the research. So going to Schoology, you'll see a couple other websites rather. This one is from UNICEF, which is an organization that is about children, and it's closely related to the United Nations. And they have some stuff about sustainable development goals here, so you can go and read some of this. They've listed all the goals here, and if you keep scrolling, you'll see each goal and all these kind of colorful things that you maybe are used to seeing. So if I just go with goal 1 here, I can read a little bit more about the goal, and then I can also learn how to start implementing this sustainable development goal. So that's the link I would like to click on. And you'll get a little bit more information here, maybe some other links throughout this site. But the one thing that I think is really helpful is this download file. It says download the document. And they have one of these, I think, for each goal. And this will give you a little bit more things that might be interesting for your project. Some of those statistics, some of those different pieces of information that you might want to use to really help prove that this is a problem. So you can read more about this. You've got some statistics here: 385 million, 1 in 7 children in rich countries are deprived, it says. So that's all about poverty. It goes really into detail about the goal and what it's all about, and how we can kind of monitor the goal, and what we can maybe use to invest in the goal, how we can activate people around this goal. So this is really goal specific. It might not always reach exactly the target that you're focused on, but I think there's a lot here that might be at least something that might spark some ideas, might lead you down different paths for the rest of your research. And so these documents, I think, are helpful. Again, that's on that UNICEF site. The other link that I have is back to the site that many of us started this project on, about the Sustainable Development Goals. You kind of go through and flip through these little goals here, and you can read more about them again. So do that. And again, you have more information here, lots of facts and figures, lots of background on the goal. And so this is all good stuff that you could use as research. If you need to include some of this in your final presentation, I think a lot of this might work for a lot of you. Um, it even has really recent stuff about the COVID-19 response. And if you scroll down a little bit further, there are some other um, pieces of information, facts and figures here. The links all the targets. It has links to some different sites that are related to the goal. You can go further and look at some news that might be relevant. But the biggest things that I think might help you in your research are these two things right here. There's a Why It Matters document. And again, there's one of these for each goal. And there's also infographics. So you can click on those and it will open up a PDF. This one, again, more background on this goal. So this might be a good resource if you're having trouble finding stuff in your research you've done so far. Maybe you can take some stuff from this document. The infographic, similar kind of stuff. You can see some really good things, and you could even use some of this in your final presentation if you think it would be relevant. So I just wanted to highlight those two sites. They're linked for you on Schoology. They might help you kind of find more stuff for your research. But again, your work time should be focused on researching today. Let me know if you have questions about that, if you're having trouble, if you need some help, if you need some ideas. I'm here for you. And then make sure you do watch that Innovate Invent campaign video, that one at the bottom there. All right. That's all I will say. And thank you for listening. And good luck with all the rest of your work. You're doing a great job. Keep it up.